I don't even know what it costs here for. Do you know what it costs for beer here, Ian? What's a 6-pack of beer? Do you know?
11, $12.
Yeah, I reckon it's going to be around 10. So, and I reckon you could probably find a bottle of vodka or bourbon for $10 still in America. Here, there's like $50, $60 for the cheapest one. Like if you wanted to get a Jim Beam,
I mean, this just doesn't sound right.
What?
What's going on with like the average,
That's
party in the back, business in the front, Australian? I mean, is he not drinking now? Has he sobered up because it's too expensive?
Yeah, a lot of people have to sober up. It's like, or they're onto the mineral terps now, right?
Oh. That's like that one guy we found in Adelaide.
Yeah.
Where that's what he was drinking. He was drinking
barking at us,
rubbing
wasn't he?
alcohol. Yeah, he was drinking rubbing alcohol. We're like, what? You're drinking this? Yeah, that's pretty serious stuff.
Expensive. So. Anyway. Oh, sorry, Ian. How you doing?
Hey guys, sorry, I was sitting in the Google Meet that was on my calendar, and then I jumped back in the email last minute, so my bad. Sorry for being.
Oh no, you're spot on time. Yeah, that's my fault. I forget that calendar. Google puts that in there automatically.
I'm sitting there. I'm like, I bet you these guys are somewhere else. So I went back to the email.
I did find out that it's the exact same link all the time.
Oh yeah.
I always thought it was a unique link, so I should probably just put it in the invite and leave it in wherever. But I didn't know that till recently. So,
Joseph, you're in Austin. Ethan, where are you at?
Yeah, I'm in Queensland, Australia. So the other side of the planet.
That's right. Ian was hoping we could all get together in person.
Yeah.
So I was like, we might have some logistics problems.
Visit
you. I know everyone else is moving to Austin. I'm not going yet.
It does seem like everyone's here.
Hey, they came and then they're leaving.
Well, I saw Elon's inviting people again. Elon put out a tweet today saying,
"Oh, did he?
Butts to Mars or to Austin?" Yeah.
Austin or Mars? Is that his two options?
That's.
We did have a really big growing boom at one time, but then last thing I read is like it's still growing, but it's slower. And Dallas grew a lot, but now it's slower. But then the next one is I read this new real estate report where they say, in the next 5 years, Texas will still be, the place for real estate, which I assume people still want to move here. The problem is it's really hot.
Fingers crossed.
Isn't where all the data centers going to be there, and they're going to be making robots there now, like 1 million robots a year or something?
I don't know why you would put a data center here, though. I mean, for at least
Sam's putting one there too.
I know, but I mean, at 4 months of the year, you're talking about 110 outside, and it cools off to like 90 at night. So I don't know why they already have a heat problem. I don't know why they would put a data center here. Seems like they should go to Alaska or Canada or something, where they can save a lot of money. Because to cool that just for humans, it's already expensive. To cool it for a data center, I don't even understand how they manage that.
Hey, it's pro business. We're gonna make it work.
Is that it? They should go one of those states that have socialized air conditioning. See, or Oregon, all those northern states, they have socialized air conditioning. You just walk outside, there's like air conditioning all the time.
They a lot of people. My family's in San Diego, and a lot of people don't have AC, and it's been getting hotter and hotter, and they didn't need it before. So,
yeah, same. All north. They typically don't have AC, but people are wanting it now more and more.
It's just the Zoomers. You're a bunch of pussies.
Your parents aren't complaining.
When I went to school, I used to wear an onion on my belt.
Let me kick us off. Welcome to the conversation where we unpack the wild, interconnected chaos shaping our world, including the population's decline and all the reasons for it. Today's guest is Ian Noble, who builds passive income through mobile home parks and private lending for real estate. He is the founder of Runsteady Investments. I don't know why I rolled my R.
Best accent I've ever heard.
Runsteady Investments, where it helps small businesses navigate their passive real estate investments. Ethan, thank you for joining us today. And like you said, you're in North Austin, right?
Yeah, Arboretum area.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it is becoming a hotspot. Now, you were born here, right? You're the son of Rick's Cleaners, right? I know of Rick's Cleaners.
Do you? Yeah, I thought that your shirt looked good. You take that into the cleaners? No.
They don't have one near me, but
You're like, I gotta
you know,
drive. I don't need to.
I don't want to name the competitor that's near me, but
Yeah. We know
but,
those guys.
but
Yeah, I grew up here. The town's changed a lot. Ethan, you said everyone wants to come to Austin, and it was true. Like last 10 years, it was a different place. You going from one side to another, we're all connected now, but it used to be leagues apart. And Joe, how long have you been in Austin for?
man, I'm pushing 20 years.
So you didn't get it. You had like the airport was always the same for you, right? Or did you get to experience the old airport?
Yeah, no, the airport was always south.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now the old airport area definitely looked more airport-ish than it does
Yeah.
now. But yeah, no, I think they opened that airport in
Early,
was it 2002, 3?
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we moved here like 2007, so it'd been opera. Now it was a great airport because so easy to drive in, empty. It was amazing. It was just like stretching out, like whoa. And now they've doubled in size, and it's awful, crowded. Everybody's flying through it, and now it's become congested. But
Yeah. Go home.
yeah,
Sure.
that's the new Texas motto.
Yeah.
So you have any siblings?
I have one sibling. Yeah.
Older, younger?
Yeah. She's older, 4 years.
Ah, okay, 4 years older. Nice.
Yeah.
And then, so you're both born here. You grew up North Austin, that same Arboretum area.
Yeah, grew up North Austin, went to UT. The only time I left during college for a bit, went over to Europe, traveled a bunch. Then, I
Oh, you're one
traveled
of
my thing.
those.
So that's why I've been able to stay in Austin for so long, just because I get out quite a bit and go see the rest of the world. No Australia yet, Ethan. It's on the radar. But I met a bunch of Aussies in Thailand, and they're intimidating dudes when they drink. A lot of chest butting and screaming. This was like 10, 15 years ago.
Yep, that's Crocky.
That was
You
your
just
dude?
described Crocky. Yeah,
Well, that's
that's it.
the
That's not 2 beers. That's about 3 beers
the
on.
only
Then,
culture we
then
have.
the fist.
The only culture we have is drinking in Australia. So.
I felt it. I experienced it, I guess, a couple countries away.
Yeah, it's always beer o'clock.
Yeah.
That's right. So do you travel with your family?
Yeah, I do. We got a lot more traveling, but I have kids now, so it's different, landscape now, but we travel quite a bit.
How many kids do you have?
3.
Wow, you're beating the odds.
Yeah,
I
You
know.
need
He's put in
2.1.
work.
So
You
he's locked
mentioned
it up.
declining.
Is that the same woman?
Yeah, same lady. Yeah, it's my wife.
Nice.
We've been together, married for 8, together for 15, but yeah, 3 kids.
Wow.
The house is crazy right now, though. It's 5 years.
Wait.
Two-
So 15 and 8. Was there a little gap in between there?
No,
or-
just we weren't married, right? This was right after college. We weren't married for a bit, and then got married. But no, we've been
Did you
together
meet at UT?
15 years. Yeah,
You both Longhorns.
on 6th
okay.
Street. I was wearing crutches, and yeah, got her to take me.
Was that part of the pickup line? You're like,
The psychology
oh,
of that. The psychology of
I'm really
that.
hurt right now. Can you help me?
yeah.
Women always want to find something to fix. Yeah.
It was 2 a.m. I don't know where my head was at that point, but here we are.
Has she managed to fix you? Is that-
No, I'm a lost
All
cause.
right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So tell me how your dad kind of started Rick's Cleaners. I mean, how did that really happen?
Family's from San Diego. He tried to be a cop, didn't get in. I don't know what happened.
Oh, explain no more.
Yeah.
He's in the laundering, that kind of laundering
yeah.
business.
One way or the other.
He was trying to,
okay.
find his path, and a fam, or I don't know how they connected this guy, but they came to Houston and they operated a cleaners in Houston. And it was that whole, you could operate this business and then you could buy it from us or we could franchise it. And the guys in Houston said, you should go to Austin. This was 1986. And so my family moved in 87 to Austin, opened up a dry cleaners, and the rest was history.
So you're born in San Diego, the area.
No, I was born here. So I was born in
Oh.
88. Puts things in perspective.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the only one here from Austin, but things were different back in the day. Men and women wore suits to work. There were lines out the door, so it was I
I
think
don't think that ever happened in Austin.
no,
Yeah,
it
that's false.
lines out the door. This was an article back in like early 90s.
He would know. He's been watching those. How do you do dry cleaning?
You just it's so your clothes get wet, but it's not water. It's a cleaning solution. It's a chemical, but that sounds bad when you
Huh.
talk about clothing. Everything's a chemical, by the way. I used to explain that to people, like if you wear contacts, you're putting chemicals in your eyes with your contact solution. But yeah, it's
So there's no water. It's just like you're hosing it down with a pressure washer full of Clorox.
yeah, it's the good stuff. No, I mean it's there's no water in the formula, but it's definitely liquid, and you put in this big machine, and it's
Do you wash it like in
yeah.
like you would a washing machine? So it's just a huge tub of liquid. You're dropping it in there.
It spins around and then dries it out all in the same machine. So it goes in dry, it comes out dry, which is, I think, probably why they came up with the term. But your stuff gets wet while it's in there and moving around. So it's yeah.
So it's not actually dry cleaning.
No,
Yeah,
no.
It just ends up
a lie.
dry.
Yeah.
It's another lie.
Why people are like,
So what about the money? When you put the money in and you bring it out, do you have to like fan that off, or is that a
money survives too. There's but stuff that can be eaten doesn't. So like plastic beads or lipstick cases, like that kind of stuff gets real messy. You got to check.
Oh, the chemical eats it, like organic plastics?
The old
or-
stuff used to, but now there was this chemical called perk, and the states kind of shut it down to where there's a few dry cleaners out there that use it. It was a good cleaner, but it was so aggressive. This was back in, predating the 80s and 90s. It was so aggressive that it would, eat plastic off stuff. And that's why nobody uses it anymore. There's better alternatives that are safer. They're more gentle. Like,
Yeah, what happens to the
I don't-
buttons
right?
on your
we
suit,
thought
right?
this was about money, but now we find out they're moving bodies through this stuff.
Yeah.
This is how they get rid of the bodies. Is really
it's like
what's going on.
the Texas version of a bayou. You just put them in one of those machines and off they go.
Uh,
Yeah, no, I wish I was in the laundering business. That sounds a lot more fun, but we were just cleaning clothes.
right.
It sounds
So
kind
your
of
dad
Breaking
kind of found that originally he found a franchise. They said kind of give it an experiment. He moves to Austin, sets up the first one under that franchise.
No, just
Or
he did it
was
on-
it Rick's Cleaners then?
Yeah, it was just Rick, and he's Rick, named it Rick's, and then the rest was history. And he that
Because you ended up with how many locations? I mean, they're all over Austin.
yeah, it's fluctuated over the years. I think that it at its peak was probably 18 or 19 stores, but right now there are 14.
Gotcha.
Yeah, closed a lot of stores that just weren't doing that great, and then kept the good ones.
Yeah. That was kind of a bit through COVID, I imagine. Where,
Yeah, COVID was good. That business, it was crazy time. Lost 85% of revenue, and I'd never worked harder in my life because people weren't going into work. So, and that's what we're cleaning. So at the time there were 95 employees, 4 cleaning facilities, 3, and so had to shut down plants, let go of staff, but then rent's still due. You still got to pay your people. So it was a wild time. But the silver lining, we got to raise prices a bit. Our workload went down, and I became more profitable by surviving. So it was
oh, wow.
yeah, there was many didn't make it through, like the smaller mom and pop stores, but I think those that like had reserves and had a good name, they prospered if they made it through.
Gotcha. Now you said something. I just want to make sure I understand the process. So when I bring my clothes into this local place, that they're not actually dry cleaning it, chemically cleaning it there. You take it to a different location
Yeah,
to clean it and then bring it back. So that's
right.
just like the
little drop off
lies.
store.
See,
More
that's
lies.
what when I walk in. I see you see the coat,
Yeah.
the hanger thing that you go around. It goes around, and I don't see any machines. So I'm like, man, this dry cleaning. How do you dry clean
a
something?
racket.
They must
What
have
are they
like a
doing?
brush.
Yeah.
Is it a brush or something? How
In
do
my
they do it
mind,
dry?
In my mind, it's just this long curtain rack that goes up and then down. You put it in a bag, you take it out of a bag, and it's done, right? But you're
Oh,
saying
that's
it
it.
doesn't even
That's
happen there.
They just move it around. That's how it gets clean. So
That
is the process.
Yeah, people started or stopped putting their equipment in every store because it's expensive. Nowadays, it's probably $1 million or high, 700,000, 800,000
For a
to set up
dry
plant.
washing
Yeah.
machine.
Not the machine itself, but if you're talking equipment, piping, you're running. I don't know if you guys,
Gotcha.
you've probably never been in the back of a dry cleaners, but if you've been to a brewery, That's a
Oh yeah, we hang out there all the
Yeah.
time. It's very common. Yeah, we're like we were just there last week having a little. That's
No,
where Ethan drinks his beer.
breaking,
It's
you're
like,
breaking the facade for us right now. Our
Yep.
whole life is an illusion.
we're still shocked that there's liquid involved. This is a
Yeah.
sham. We're busting this here, people. We are letting you know it's not dry cleaning.
Yeah,
So,
it gets wet. So the industry calls wet cleaning the use of water, and dry cleaning is when they're not using water, but it's still getting wet just with a solution. But yeah, to your question earlier, that's what they do. You don't want to have equipment in every store, so you have a central hub. You go run a route during the day, run a route at night, pick up all the dirty stuff, bring the clean stuff back during the day, and then you can open stores much quicker and cheaper. So a lot of people moved away from that whole model of like having equipment there on site.
it makes sense. Makes sense. So really, it's like a bank. I mean,
Yeah.
it's my local neighborhood store is where I'm going to go to, but then you got some other logistics van hauling it away.
That's it.
Now, I assume you grew up in this because he started this before you were born. So I don't know what you try to make a
Too many
joke inside the
chemicals.
dry cleaning money, but I don't know what there is.
It's very dry humor.
I did grow up in it, but I actually didn't work it, which was really odd. I don't know why I wasn't working in the store during high school
Ah, you never worked there.
or middle school. I was there a lot, but especially when I was younger, my dad, they had these laundry carts, and I would, stay in the office while he was at work, or sleep in the, I don't know if you guys ever seen like yellow industrial laundry baskets, like those things. You can put your kids in them, come to find out, and they can't get out. So, and
That's where you grew
made it
up.
out
Throwing a
His
toy.
childhood.
rolled out of that thing, and it's like, I'm gonna buy this thing from you, you bastard. Yeah, Dad's my best friend, by the way. So we like to shoot the shit about the industry. We got it's tough, man. It's customer service business, and so you're dealing with like people's used clothing, and there might be a thread or a snag that comes out, after you clean something, and nobody knows if it was there or not, and then it becomes this match. You're gonna buy me that new sweater all the time. So the world has changed, and customer,
Now,
yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
people have got sentimental feelings about the clothes they're actually dry cleaning too, right? Because these are
That's right.
clothes that they're not gonna wash themselves. They're so precious. So yeah, they're kind of handing you their best.
well, help us out with another myth. And is it true that dry cleaners, they see a Gucci jacket or something, and they
I know
sport
you're
it
going.
around a little
This is a
before
Seinfeld
pickup day?
episode. I think
Came from that, right? This is a true confession. So we were a prepaid cleaners. People would pay up front, but a lot of dry cleaners, most people pay, and when it gets picked up, it's backward logic because they're paying their staff. They're getting all
So
the
it could
stuff.
stay there for a long period of time.
Stays there
'Cause they don't
forever, and
pick it
these
up till they
cleaners
have
don't
money.
get paid. So what we would do, the product's already been paid for, and then there is ultimately we need some more space when we're filling up, and you'd have to clean those racks off. And you'd call and text and everything, you could email, and people sometimes never came back. So yeah, I got some jackets, I think, over the years.
The real hand-me-down. They were laundering clothes, actually.
But
saying they were
no,
pumping
we
through.
weren't taking them in between pickup sessions. Could you
Nice.
imagine how bad hey man, what are your initials? Because those are my initials too. How'd you get that shirt?
They are now, at least.
Yeah.
So you were in the basket, the yellow basket, and you observed this business as your dad built it. So you knew when you went to college, was that something you wanted to do? Did your dad pump you up like, hey, you could take over the business?
No, not during college. It happened after. So I got out of college in 2009.
But any aspirations before, though?
I never pictured it as something I'd go into, honestly. I didn't, when I was going to college, it wasn't like I'm just going to check the box and then I'm going to go run my family business. I was trying to do something for myself. And after getting out of school, economy was bad. I was working an internship. I was cold calling people. I wasn't getting paid. I was an economics major, so like we don't specialize in anything. You're like decent at math, but so I think he needed some rescuing, and at that point he just said he was so far removed from it, wasn't going to work. He said, come try this out.
How old was he at that point? You remember?
So this was this is about 15 years ago. So he was probably like 53. But I think he stopped working like when he was probably 40, like mid 40s or something in that
Gotcha.
business.
So he had like a manager or something operating these.
Yeah. There were some ladies that had run it. And honestly, the business for a lot of the time survived on low prices. So it's just kind of like it had a good foundation, but it definitely needed some saving getting into it. And look, I didn't know what I was doing. I was 21 years old when I went in there and I started pressing clothes. Like our quality was really bad when I started off.
Wait. This is after you jumped into it. You were like,
Yeah.
I'll help you
I
get things-
skipped that
No,
part. So yeah, he said, look, come try it, right? Like,
he's already cleaning our laundry.
yeah,
Like,
you
like,
don't, come work it, see if it's, you will learn more in this business than any of your fancy suit and tie thing that you think you're going to go get a job for. And I was like, all right, fair enough. I kind of saw how he lived his lifestyle. He was a real estate guy. And then he had this business, but the real estate always allowed him to kind of kick back, and because you're not having to work every single
This
day.
is your dad.
It's my dad. So I'd seen this and I thought about it and I was like, you know what? And he told me, he's like, if you can run this business, you can run any business. And I'm glad I took that advice. I believe now, like that's dry cleaning, but what? So one business that I can't run is probably like e-commerce and tech space. I'm probably not the guy for that. But if it was like, getting your hands dirty, blue collar service business, I think, fundamentally everything behind your end product is all the same. Whether you have a nail salon or a restaurant, like you've got inventory, leases, HR staff, y'all know the drill. So I'm
actually,
happy I took his advice. No,
We didn't even know it was actually getting wet. We thought it was actual dry cleaning.
Yeah,
so
we
Yeah.
no, this is new for us.
yeah, teach y'all to.
So how did your dad, he just said, listen, economy's bad. You're looking for a job. Come and work for me and help me improve it. That's how it sort of started in the transition.
Yeah, he said,
Or did you originally walk in thinking like, I'll buy this and fix it up?
I knew I wasn't going to go there and just work. So I think I had, higher aspirations for myself. So,
Gotcha.
but I needed to learn. I also didn't want to be the owner's kid that went in there and was entitled or, because
Mm.
in family business, if you're passing along business to a second generation, historically that's a failing statistic. The kid never does as good as the parent statistically. So for me, it was important, when I jumped the gun earlier and said I just went in, started tagging clothes, pressing, I started taking stains out, all these useless things. Now I can take stains out of anything because that's there's chemistry, right? You're mixing and magic.
Blood.
Yeah.
I can take blood out, whatever. So we saw all that good
The
stuff.
cleaners.
Yeah.
What about your sister? How did she play in this? Did she?
She never got
Yeah.
involved with the business. It was, I don't know, it was something.
Any resentment still to this day that you got involved and she didn't? A little bit?
Little bit.
Okay. All right.
I love my sister, but probably a lot of it, it's hard. That business is hard work. It's, I would go to work in the dark and leave in the dark at the other end of the, in the evening. And, because I didn't know, all I knew, I was like, I have good work ethic, but I didn't know anything about running a business, but you learn real quickly when,
Right.
and because he wasn't at work anymore. So I went in. Now the gals that were running it for, the time that he wasn't going to the office, they kind of showed me the ropes. Hey, here's how we do everything. Learned a lot from them. And then it was like, all right, let's go time. We had no computer system. We had no uniforms. We had, we were like just flying.
This is definitely an illegal business.
Yeah.
There's laundering going on. No computers.
We have a shop front.
Now,
we have a few
your
shop
girl-
fronts.
Yeah. Your girlfriend was just your girlfriend at this time, right?
That's right.
She involved or just
No, we never worked
Support.
together. Yeah, she was a nurse. She went
That's
to
probably
nurse. She
wise.
was a ICU nurse. So yeah,
Yeah.
never. I don't think I'm kind of scatterbrained, and so I don't think we would work well together. Probably best.
nice. So you go in thinking like, okay, there's no computer system. Your dad's been out of it for a while, so maybe there's an improvement. You can jump in, fix it up, and make this. Now, when you started with your dad, was there a plan? You had big ambitions, but did you pitch off with your dad like, hey, I'll buy this? Or you're just like, let me get in. I have big ambitions, but I'll pitch you all that later. Was it more you or more your dad sort of like, get in here and do this?
Yeah, he was the one that made the push to get me in because I don't think I mentioned earlier he hadn't been going to work in years, and so I don't think for him, there wasn't much profit that he was pulling. The business was running itself, but I think it was, hey, really good opportunity for you to learn the world of business, run this thing. And I think there was an understanding that I'd buy it from him someday. And then, this was 5 years later, we started kind of orchestrating this. All right, we're going to do a buyout. Okay. It's time now for me to buy this thing from you. And so we, formal sales transaction, all that fun stuff. I got a sweet deal because, all seller financed, which, I couldn't go buy your business on 100% seller finance.
Yeah, your dad carried the note.
That's right. Yeah.
That's where your sister's a little sore.
Yeah. It's like, what'd you do that for? But hey, I was in my early 20s and had 7 figures in debt and 90 employees. Like there was no choice to fail for me. So, I was happy to take it on. And I had already been running it at that point. So it wasn't like this big, oh my, what do I do now? Like now I own this thing. It was, it was like waking up on a Tuesday and going into work. It was just paperwork had been filed kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the US, there's what's called the silver tsunami. The silver tsunami is a whole lot of baby boomers. Right now, there are 10,000 a day. I think it's for the next 5 years that turn 65 every day. 10,000 a day. So as all these baby boomers are adding up, there's going to be in the next 5 years alone, or no, I think it's the next 10 years. In the next 10 years, there are going to be 3 million businesses just like what you described, just like Rick's Cleaner. Some of them much smaller, some a little bigger. All of them needing to either be passed down or transition to employee or something along this line. And so that is part of the topic of this conversation, is really seeing how one of these transitions and transactions really come about. And you said you and your dad are still pretty close now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Does he feel, after you sold the thing, does he feel like, okay, that worked out great, I'm happy for you?
I think so. He was the one that said, are you sure you want to do this and sell? Because I was 35, but I mean, I had been doing it for 13, 14 years. And so I was ready.
Wow.
I was
I was going to ask how long you were at it for 15 years cranking this out then after school.
So
wow.
Yeah, straight from school. So I was young, but I was ready because I would, everyone's been burnt out at some point in their career. And that was me. It was, it was my fault. I think I could have built better systems. I put myself in the middle of every system. This ties into your whole silver tsunami retirement thing. A lot of people do. And that's still something that the next generation has to navigate. How viable of a business is that to buy? But, yeah, I was pretty emotionally beat. I was so proud all those years of, we'd win best dry cleaners in Austin and still was. And then I thought, but then a little bit of that fire kind of cooled off. And then I thought, I'm doing this whole company a disservice and my family if mentally, like when I go home, I'm thinking about work all the time. So yeah, it was, but now I'll tell you this, that I was the bottleneck. So I would do things a lot differently and will the next time I have a, staff that size, and the new owner is doing a great job. And him and I have become friends, which is cool, right? You never want to sell to someone and then feel like they got duped or, he's kept every single key player. 100% of our key players are there 2 years later.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
So it's a small local business. So your employees become your family. So
That's
that
right.
becomes an important part where I imagine for your dad too, he's like, I know all these people. I don't want you to sell this and them all be out of business and something like that. It's a community issue as well. How did your dad approach it as far as a revenue source? And by that, you don't have to share any numbers, but how profitable was it for him when you jumped in? And then how profitable were you to make it for his, I assume you did a loan?
Yeah.
It was a fixed amount that you sold it for or bought it for?
Yeah, it was fixed amount. So when I got in there, the business could sustain itself, but I wouldn't say he was making a killing from it. And so we kind of valued it. We valued it on a multiple, which was standard for the industry. Maybe I got a slight discount, but he was excited about it because
so long as you keep the cartel clientele happy.
that's right. Yeah. I have stories about that. So if you guys want to dive into that fun stuff,
Wait, really? No.
No,
It's like you got approached to like, listen, will you launder our money? I mean, this.
not cartel, but definitely, I'm gonna assume that over the years, some drug related customers. We had this one guy. He would go to one of the South Austin locations, and he'd pull up in a non-assuming car. So I give him props for that. But he'd put this bag
What's a non-assuming car?
like
Is
a
that
like a white
oh,
Toyota Camry with no chrome.
okay,
Just
all
looks
right,
regular,
gotcha.
like right off the lot.
Generic rental.
But he
Okay.
gets out, and it was like, I think everyone got high in the parking lot as he was walking into the store. And the guy would come in, and he
Wait, Ethan.
Yeah. Wait,
This
this is that time you were visiting. Is this you?
Yep,
rental?
this is Ethan. This is
All right. So this guy, I thought him when you said cartel. He was one of my favorite customers because he'd bring this massive bag in. His clothing would reek, but the guy would
all cash.
We like the
It's
massive
like, will you
bags,
clean
yeah.
my money?
yeah, he would dry clean his underwear. I kid you not. So
Wow.
at the time we were a fixed price, right? And I think it was
Well, now that I know there's liquid chemical involved, it makes sense now.
Yeah.
He's ahead of the time. so.
listeners, don't be scared. Those underwear got cleaned by themselves, but because normally for this
They
guy, I
all
was like,
throw that.
I don't know how he was going through so much underwear, but he was dropping.
I swear my white shirt was white when I brought it in.
Anyway, long story short, we had some customers like that I was like, listen, man, there's no need to clean your t-shirt or your boxers, but we will clean them for you at, $5 a pop. And that was good business. Those were the fun ones. We found all kinds of crazy stuff in pockets, found drugs in pockets, notes that shouldn't be there that, the spouse wouldn't be happy about, all kinds of stuff that was coming in on people's laundry. And, one time I told someone this the other day, actually. I even called the guy to say, hey, I was trying to, okay, can I win this guy? Can I make him a customer for life? I even called him back and I'm like, hey, you got stuff in your pocket that we don't need here. Do you want it back? And the guy was like, oh, I went to Vegas. Please go flush that down the toilet. And that was it. But customer for life.
Do not tell my wife.
Yeah.
I was supposed to stay in Vegas.
Yeah.
Can you mail that back to Vegas? Yes.
So fun stories.
What about?
So then,
Have you ever had to I guess certain things you'd have to, but anything like blood or have you ever had to to authorities or something?
Yeah. We had
the tone changes.
no,
all of a
not
sudden.
authorities, but
He's like,
we
yeah.
had this stuff would always get obviously rejected when they brought it in, but we would have seniors that would come in and they, from after having an accident and be like, hey, what can you do with this pair of trousers? And I'm like, you need to go spray that with a hose in your backyard, buddy, because we can't take that. So people would cry. Yeah.
So you ran this for nearly 15 years. You got married, had a couple of kids in there. What phase was that? You said you've been dated for 15 years through college, so there's 14.
No,
so you got 11
dated
in
for
the
7
business.
years, and then this in 2016 we got married. So then married since.
2016.
So it's just been that's dating and marriage together.
What did your wife think about, because you are already running this, what'd you think about you selling it?
She was ready. Yeah, she.
She's like, you're too busy. You're too busy. You're all over the place. This is
Yeah,
crazy.
she knew, and I was ready too. And then after that whole transaction, that's a weird feeling too, because I'd done that for so long that when I sold, I was excited, right? But then the next day, I think I was excited for a couple of days, and then after that, I'm like, oh no, I don't have an identity. Like I was so
What am I
used to
doing?
being,
You just lost your job.
yeah, it was a weird feeling, and so I pretty quickly was itching to I'm gonna go buy another business, but I'm gonna do it differently this time. I'm gonna have more staff. I'm gonna give them equity incentive. Like this is gonna be a different thing. I'm gonna have a partner in place. All these things I didn't do on the last go around. And then she was like pulling me back. Hey, pump the brakes. You got out of this for a reason. It wasn't money, it was emotion. And, don't just dive right back into something. So that was helpful because, I mentioned 3 kids. Right now they're 5, 2, and 6 months old. So it's a
Oh, man.
time. Yeah, to get to
Is the oldest one at school then? Are you getting any kind of break from that one or?
Yeah. My oldest is in school. She's at kindergarten.
Okay.
But yeah, it's good. It's fun, and I'm getting to spend more time. And so, I just try to build build the next chapter around that whole, like, how can I give myself some more time? Because I wasn't used to having it. I was always working and didn't know any different.
So walk us through the transactional a bit. You sold it. Did you sell it to, it sounds like an individual, not a firm.
That's right. It was not private equity, but the individual he worked in mergers and acquisitions, so he was a M&A guy and knew his stuff. So I got schooled on. I'd never sold a business before, and the structure in which they did it was clever. I think much more sophisticated than somebody just going to buy a business. Your average Joe. But yeah, no, not private equity, which I was happy with.
What? Oh, go ahead, finish.
Yeah, no, I was happy that it wasn't just some firm. I wanted it to be somebody that was going to be around a little bit and be a good face for the company, and he's done that.
And did you carry a note or all cash?
Most was cash. I had
bags, all in bags.
Money bags, baby. Finally. No, most of it was cash, and then there was a seller finance component. We had talked about doing a certain percentage that was, I think for him, making him feel like, okay, you've got some skin in the game, and but it all worked out. Seller finance is a tricky thing. You have to have faith. It's a good, to show faith to the next person that you think they're going to perform. Am I going to get paid? But this was a deal that worked, I think, for both parties. It was a sweet spot to where I thought, you know what, if this whole thing got wiped out tomorrow, I'd still be content and, with what came from it. So, yeah.
What'd your dad think about cash? Because, cash comes in different ways. If you're retiring, you like the passive income because it's, fixed every month. Once you get cash, you now have a capital gains problem. And you also have a reinvestment to try to figure out that passive income. So what was his take on the sale?
I think capital gains was a concern. So a lot of what I did when I sold was trying to structure it to where it was favorable for both parties. So we structured the sale in a way that I think worked for the both of us. And fortunately, most of it, it was an asset-based sale. So like, in business, either asset or stock. And it was an asset-based sale, which benefits the buyer. But our assets were maybe 10% of the business value. So from a tax perspective, you're paying for that 10% of the business sale, you're paying personal income tax rates. So highest tax rate. But then the remainder of that acquisition was at capital gain, 20% capital gains rate. And then I dove pretty heavily into how can I reduce this tax burden coming, because all of a sudden you get paid and then you give it back to the government. It kind of feels pretty lousy.
What was the point of that?
Why would I even? What you gotta do that for? So
you're welcome.
That was all. Yeah. And then, I don't know, conversation for another day, but people gripe about people and paying taxes. And it's like, hey, you don't know what, having to pony up X amount like feels like. And it's like, yeah, but it was a good year. And long story short, it was a unique year. I had to figure out, like, I spent the last 2 months of the year every day. Like, my full-time job was diving into how can I build some wealth at the same time, mitigate my tax that I'm going to have to pay. Real estate was the answer. So,
well, you actually bring up an interesting topic. Mandani just got elected in New York City.
Yeah.
Your generation elected him.
Yeah.
And seems to be leaning quite socialist. I'm sure you're familiar with Peter Thiel. Mm-hmm. He is also an Austinite. Everybody lives in Austin. And founder of PayPal. So some of his previous comments, which Krok and I have talked about before, he did another interview to follow those up after Mandani got elected, to the point where he says capitalism isn't working for this new generation. What's your take on that kind of a comment?
I'll say this: I'm a bad millennial statistic, so I think like the older generation. I think
you got married young. You have three kids. So yes, yeah. you don't match most of it.
Yeah. I I got rid of my AOL email. That
You buy $11 case of beer instead of a $50 bottle of wine.
Yeah.
So yes, you're already.
Oh yeah. That was my intro question. How much does beer cost? Y'all were gauging to see what kind of person I was. I don't drink much, by the way, anymore. I run, and so I can't.
Anymore. He sold the business.
Yeah,
honestly.
no.
Doesn't need it.
That-
Doesn't
when
need
you
it.
have
now.
3 kids and you think about sitting down and having 2 beers and then feeling like 2 beers is all it took to make me feel sluggish. It's not worth it. So I'd shed that quite a bit.
Nice.
But
Well, you don't have the hipster beard in Austin, so
Yeah.
that's a giveaway.
yeah, Ethan, I couldn't grow your beard if I tried. It just doesn't work.
Ethan's a hipster. He's a
Yeah.
he's a
Well,
surf bum hipster. So
This is with me and Joe were just talking. This is my second haircut this year. So like I was like out here before.
So you were part homeless yesterday. Your hair was down to here.
Yeah. I was
They-
I get free food all the time. People just
Yeah.
hand me shit. I just
This is-
walking down the street.
We're
Here's some money.
laughing about it. Have you visited Austin much? We had kind of a good run of homelessness here. That
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, so I lived in the States for 10 years, but I didn't agree with the States, or the States didn't agree with me.
yeah.
Yeah.
They actually think that Australians drink Foster's beer too. We were
Dude, there's a
sold
lot of
lie.
Americans that don't. There's a lot of Americans that don't believe in Australia. They think it's part of flat Earth theory, right? It's made up like the rockets, like it's just nobody
it's not
lives
real.
on the.
There's no Australia. There's just
Yeah.
We're all
somewhere.
actors. We're all crisis actors.
that's right.
You asked me about Mondami and the whole capitalism isn't real, or how'd you ask that question?
Well, Peter Thiel said capitalism isn't working for your generation. And what he was implying is that there's an overburden on your generation versus the other generation. So I want to make sure to frame this right because, one, you were able to step in during a hard economic time, you said. You were able to step in and work for your dad, and then you were able to do owner financing to transition to that. So granted, given those things that you do have, but that's a lot of what future generations have. There's fewer children and a lot more parents. So many of them sort of have that. But he's implying that the average house that's selling for $420,000, savings rates are down, wages have not matched. So he's implying that the economy. Now, there's a couple of ways to look at it. You could say, we talked about this, I think, last week or the week before. If you compare 1950, our houses are bigger and we have way more tech and we work less. So there's a couple of ways you can look at this, but I imagine you have friends who are also your age. So just getting your perspective, whether I assume it's from a capitalistic more perspective, but
Yeah.
getting your perspective, I think, is important from that generation. As Ethan and I can't do anything but mock you all from when you're not listening.
I feel old. I mock the younger generation too. I'm like, those guys, what are they thinking? But capitalism's not failing this generation. I think that it's a mindset, and those that find it and believe in it and make their own, then they're going to be successful. And then the people that, the voters that wanted Mondami and are for that sort of stuff, perhaps they haven't experienced, things and, controlling life for themselves. I have friends that bring this up and they're like, what if this policy changes? What if this president comes in, this was a big topic, but, going into this whole capitalism thing, it was like back from the last election, it was like a whole Trump and Harris thing. And I thought, you know what? People can vote a certain way, but like as a capitalist, I'm going to get up the next day. I don't care who wins the election, and I'm going to go do my thing, and I'm going to find success, and I'm going to help families that work with me, for me, partner with me. So I just don't buy it. I think that, you got to take control, and I'm hoping, tying this into your question of the silver tsunami, I think there's a lot of publicity now with, tech mass layoffs and there's
Verizon announced 15,000 today.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy. You think that was a safe career before. And there's a lot of people now that are pushing this, back to in Austin. We've got there's a local voice here, Cody Sanchez. She's pushing taking over Main Street, buying businesses. And I'm all for that effort. So I don't think capitalism has failed anybody. I think that people that say that are just have a victim mentality, and that may sound harsh, but that's just I'm still allowed to say my opinion.
You mentioned that you don't quite fit into a lot of where your generation is. I'm just wondering, I would agree, but I'm just wondering where you get that perspective. Do you have a lot of friends and what's their scenario? Your college buddies who have graduated, where are all they?
Yeah. Not too many entrepreneurs in the bunch, and so they all did really well and do well.
They all work for you now. They're all
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
well.
I used to tease it because, they're honestly a lot of them from college.
It's a liquid, you idiot. No, it's not dry cleaning. Step one.
We just tell
Yeah,
them it's
man,
dry. We just tell
It's
them
full
it's
circle.
Where should Ethan and I send our resume?
Yeah,
We're now certified.
these are doctors,
Secret's out.
lawyers, mainly. Yeah, my best friends from college are doctors and lawyers, and that too. It's just a different, obviously successful profession. For those that do well in that career, but you just start to see things differently when you run a small business. I think that you've got a me against the world mentality. I'm not waiting on a handout. My boss isn't going to pay me a paycheck. Like, this whole thing has to perform. And honestly, I think since my first job in high school, I have never gotten a paycheck from anybody else. So that's all I know. And so you're forced to be a capitalist at that point if you're, in business for yourself. And
And what did you do in high school? What was that job?
I worked at my first job too.
Selling weed on the corner.
Yeah.
Or something.
No,
It's like capitalism rule.
my sister worked at a tan salon, and so she's like, "Let me get you a job." And as a 16 or 15-year-old
Oh,
boy,
your sister got you a job, and
Were you
yet
a
you
towel
didn't
boy?
squeeze her
What-
into the
Yeah.
family business.
you're pretty much a towel boy. I worked at this tan salon, and as a 15-year-old,
Sign me up.
Tough gig.
Yeah,
I
I was
think he
like-
just started this conversation complaining about his job. Like, I had a paycheck. I had to work when I was a teenager. Your sister got you a towel boy job. Right. Very difficult.
that job where you get to talk to your customers all day. I had a good time there, but
Yeah. Try to get their phone number. and-
Yeah.
Right.
well, we had this one lady, and she was probably like 65, and she looked like leather, and she would come in and say, "Give me," I think 22 minutes was the max at that time. We had like this dial where you could do the minutes. And I'd tell her, yeah, and she'd go back to her room, and I'd crank that thing all the way down because I was trying to do her a favor, because she was going to either have skin cancer or just like turn into crispy bacon in that machine.
There's like the Trump setting or you're going to.
Yeah.
Yeah, orange. Let's go orange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
orange.
But yeah, that was,
Which is popular. That's the Longhorns here. So everybody likes to be
right.
orange in
I
Austin.
know.
So.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. To my friends that talk to me about, when it comes to people paying taxes and their fair share and all that crap, I'm just like, you just don't know and you haven't experienced it. I'm not mad at you, but you're not going to get it. And then often, where I think that I also look at it from a different lens is like, I'm a real estate guy. Even when I ran that dry cleaners, I was buying a rental property starting in 2014 every year. And so for me, that opens up a whole new treasure chest.
And this was kind of your transition. So while you're doing the laundry, you're also starting to get your feet into a little bit of rentals. And that follows your dad as well, right? He
Yeah,
was
follow
doing
what
that?
he did. I started in residential. He was doing some commercial stuff. Started in residential, just buying like single family rentals around town, and then got into smaller commercial spaces, a little industrial, played around with land. But then, the idea was I can build up this real estate thing and then someday walk away. I never really had like a target exit in mind for the dry cleaners. Honestly, I thought maybe I'll work there my whole life. That industry, just a bunch of old farts that have been there their whole life. And those were all my peers and my good friends in the industry. And I just, it was time for me to go. But real estate was kind of that answer because, and to your point of like being a capitalist, it's like, you got to control your own destiny. You said Verizon laid off 15,000 people. How many did you say today?
Today, 15,000. They announced they're going to lay off 15,000. Yeah.
So, that for that reason alone, and all these big companies are saying that, that's when I'm just, there's this big push right now, either go back and run your own business or put your money somewhere else outside of so you're starting to grow your wealth outside of your job, because like, it sucks. Imagine for those 15,000 people, they have families, mortgages, etc. And it's just like, okay, the writing's on the wall. You got to start doing stuff for yourself some way, somehow.
Well,
I
and a
mean,
lot of
local
those,
small business do have a. Oh, go ahead, Ethan. You're
I was gonna say, a
frozen.
lot of
That's why I
those
didn't see your
people
mouth
too,
move.
like you're talking about someone who you're not you're not having to budget your own business. You're just showing up every week and collecting a check. So a lot of those people are living week to week as well, because they're not having to see past their own face, right? They think that their job is going to take care of everything. But yeah, I don't know why they don't teach it in school. Do they think we need more of a workforce? Is that what it is, Joe? That everyone needs to be a worker? I mean, why aren't we teaching people how to? Yeah,
Like an entrepreneur.
yeah. Where is the? There's so
Well,
many
what's
useless
strange?
subjects that we have at school.
What's strange about this generation is, as I've gone through hiring, there is the word impact happens all the time. Like, I just don't feel like I'm having an impact. And so you have to really, especially in the tech world, you have to create jobs or at least job descriptions and discussions for a new generation where they can feel like they're having an impact. I don't really know how to define having an impact. Sometimes it means they just want to
Not work.
feel like they're needed.
Yeah, yeah.
But we are in the day where what do they call it? Mental day off? What are they called?
Yeah,
I need
participation trophy.
But you get mental day off, and isn't that also part of an established growing economy to where now, you think back 50 years and PTSD did not exist. Now we know it and a million other psychological and mental disorders. And so we do have a time where there's a lot to recognize different variations of what people go through. So in some regards, it's hard to, put together what goes where. But one thing I wanted to caveat in there, you're in real estate. Austin's rent's going up. It's getting higher and higher. You bailed out of residential and went into trailer parks. And I did find that quite interesting. One, do you have to get some kind of special insurance to deal with this? Because it seems like trailer parks are subject to tornado attacks on every tornado. They seem to only go after trailer parks. So it sounded like a strange business to jump into. Cause
That's like
I
the
think
chicken and the egg, the old saying, but it's which came first, the trailer park or the tornado?
or the tornado,
Yeah,
right?
they fly. I'll tell you. It was, yeah. You asked about insurance, and it's, I won't bore you, but yeah, you get insurance for it, and often if, let's say, a tornado comes through and wipes out the place,
Is
historically.
that what you call eviction day? Is that how you do it? You rent them out for a couple of years and then you're like, why? Oh, all cleaned up. Next
Yeah.
tenants, get it all ready.
That was easy. No, that's they have a bad. I'll start with this. So trailer parks, you can call them trailer parks, mobile home parks. Now they're called manufactured housing communities. That was part of
That sounds
you know.
fancy.
Is that a new rebranding to
Yeah, it's they
I'd
had
buy
this
one of
big-
those.
right? Sign me up. They're nice, by the way. The new ones that you can see a picture of some of these new ones that come out and look inside, and you may not know that it's a manufactured home.
Yeah, manufactured homes were quite popular. 90s, they were all over the place where you could buy a double wide, a triple wide.
Well, even
I know my siblings would go around and worked on them where they build a foundation, screw them together, go and tape them all, look nice. They do end up looking really nice. Some of them are just the single wide trailers, which look more like a trailer, but
Yeah,
tiny houses are getting more popular there too, are they? Because
very popular in
yeah,
Austin.
here
Yeah.
you can't afford anything but a tiny house now. So
Yeah, right. And these tiny houses are tiny. They're not a house. It's a weird closet.
It's a cupboard.
That seems to fit everything. Yes, but
They,
That's
you know,
crazy.
Austin with those tiny homes, they passed some legislation to loosen the like the building laws here, and so people can now pack more buildings on
ADU,
property,
yeah,
ADUs.
alternative dwelling units.
That's
yeah,
right.
So you
Yeah,
can put
the home
square
ordinance.
footage on
And
your
so good for investors, bad for neighborhoods. I think. Some San Diego, I think. Don't quote me on this, but I think I'm right that they passed something that you could put like up to 8 ADUs on a property, and I thought, home run for an investor, but could you imagine living next door to that, and then all of a sudden it looks like a Motel 6? Like, there's that many cars that are coming through. But yeah, the transition, Joe, to that was I talked to you about this tax issue. Not an issue. I just gonna have to, fork over some of the earnings to the IRS, and still did, right? There's no escape. But
Unless you get a laundering business, then
yeah.
you could.
But real estate, though, that was kind of the solution. So my wife, she was running our short-term rentals. We've got some Airbnbs, and she that year was the real estate professional. And so the tax code is very friendly to real estate investors, to where if you invest into assets and then you do a depreciation study on those. And by the way, for people that aren't listening, like if you own, or that aren't in real estate, sorry, if you own a home, on your taxes, you're going to see depreciation on there. For your home, they split it up over 27 and a half years. It's a little line.
Well, not on your residence, but on your rentals. Yes.
Well,
on your residence, you don't depreciate.
Yeah, you can get on the rent. Yeah,
live in
sorry.
it.
And so like it's a standard, it's a line item, but you're not actually losing money. And so what real estate can do, you can go out and what I was doing was you could invest into an asset. I'll make up a number, $100,000. And then when a depreciation study is done, it's essentially front loading it to the first year. And if you're a real estate professional, I could offset that against my ordinary income. So in theory, if somebody has that status and they make $500,000 and they go invest, now the law is if they invest $500,000, maybe $600,000, they're going to get a tax loss that says minus 500. Again, this number is loose. This is a theory. In short, you can effectively erase your income. So you still make your $500,000, but you can offset it with real estate. So that was kind of the play at that point, where I'm like, why wasn't I taking advantage of this earlier? This is really beneficial. And why I chose mobile home parks. You mentioned stuff's getting expensive. The wages they're not matching the value in these prices, especially like Austin shot up, and now it's kind of, sizzling. It's coming down a little bit, but there's an affordable housing crisis, and mobile home parks solve that. So it does two things. Number one, there's not really a cheaper place to live, if you compare it to like apartment buildings. And secondly, the supply is capped. So apartments can build next door to one another over and over again, but there aren't many new mobile home parks coming out. And so there's an opportunity to say, hey, we have a protected investment that serves at its core, and it helps the affordable housing crisis. And that's why I liked it. And it was not one of those businesses. I'm a low risk person, always have been. And so I didn't want to, put my money into something that I felt was risky. I'd rather take a lower return and have a safe, stable investment. So in fact, that's now with my business. I turn people away because they're like, your returns aren't good enough. And I'm like, sure, you can go get more in the S&P 500, but at what cost? And we've been on a run.
But nobody will wash your money cleaner.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's so that.
I mean, it is a great use of the tax code. The tax codes will put there really for projects like this. So this is where, alternatives would be if, you could do a S corporation or something that's made to take losses, and you're literally using tax money, but you're really reinvesting it into community type stuff. So trailer park sounds like a great idea because it is specific. In fact, there's a great trailer park right downtown Austin. I don't think it's one that we're talking about. I think you know the one I'm talking about, right behind what's Chewy's, the original Chewy's.
Yeah, it's on Barton Street Road.
Yeah, I imagine that's extremely expensive. It is your traditional trailer park, but it's right downtown. Like you could not beat the location. So I assume it's an expensive, trailer park.
And you could never put that there today, and nobody ever would put it there today. So this is why it's like
it's prime land.
Yeah,
I think that's Matthew McConaughey's got a trailer in there.
Probably that guy.
Yeah. Yes. Well, very interesting. It's been fascinating to talk to you, Ethan, or Ian, and you too, Ethan.
I'm here.
Ethan is. You're still moving.
I go to the toilet. I just put it on pause.
Yeah,
so I can go
he puts it on pause. That's what he's got an AI that starts to move his mouth. You see his mouth just go like this every once in a while. So yeah. Well, tell everybody where they can find out more about you, or they can find find out about Run Steady Investments?
Yeah, so right now I help small business owners invest passively into real estate. And you mentioned earlier private lending and mobile home parks. For the listeners of this show, I made a cheat sheet essentially that's if you're curious about how that stuff works, or if you think it's a crock, or if you've ever worried
Ooh,
about
no offense
I
taken,
caught
Crocky.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean it that way. No, it's just a good starter guide to say like what questions to ask and so forth. So I like sharing that with everybody. We'll put that in the show notes and then you find runsteadyinvestments.com. But that cheat sheet's where the value is. It's questions I wish I knew, and I wish somebody would have come to me 10 years ago and said, "Hey, there's another way to invest." That's how I help people now.
That's great. Really appreciate you joining us, Ian. This has been fun. So
Yeah, thanks,
Look forward
guys.
to watching it grow.
All right, we'll see you around. Appreciate it.
All right.
So-
Have a good one. See ya. It's coming now. It's